What up, pretty people? Okay. So, happy Monday. Yes, I am coming to you guys earlier than normal, and the reason for that is I'm exhausted. It is purely that simple. Jeremy left this morning and he'll be gone all week, and it's just been literally since he left at 7 o'clock this morning. I have been go with like Casey calling to do this and then having to do that, like with things not planned, and I'm kind of done. I'm literally kind of done for the day. So I thought, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and do this live so that I can mark that off my list, literally mark it off my list, and just take a breath for the night. It's been crazy. So hopefully you guys got everything you needed in the Easter launch. If you don't know what's launching, then you need to get on the news tab. We had the Easter launch, we had the Epcot Flower and Garden Collection launch, and I think that's it. Those are the only things. So hopefully you got what you needed. I did. I was able to grab, and as far as I know, everything is still for sale. I think everything's still available. Let's see. Easter. Oh, I need to add that. I'm looking. So yes, as of right now, everything in the Easter collection is still available, along with, where is that one? Disney. And don't forget, bring back my washer whiffs. Go and vote. I voted for Coconut Cotton, Jet Set Go, and Pristine Waters. Pristine Waters is the sexiest man scent legit ever. So I voted for those. So make sure you're voting. Yes, the link is messed up. At least the one I shared it's messed up, and it says bring back my buddy. And it says information about buddy, but the picture is of whiffs. So make sure you're sharing that with your customers, because remember, when they vote on that, it will actually run a report for you. After voting is done, things like that. Once it's done, there will be a pre-generated report on your reporting tab, which will give you the ability to go back and, when we get the results, we'll be able to go to those people who voted and be like, oh my gosh, you voted for Beach Daisy and Beach Daisy came back, XYZ. So make sure you're sharing that out with your people to vote on that. And this is the first time we've ever had it. So it's really, really exciting. And there was some ones on there that I had never smelled before. I personally love Christmas Cottage. Love it, love it, love it. I use it all year round, but I don't know if I want my clothes to smell like it. I didn't vote for it, but I kind of wanted to vote for it because I wanted to know what it smelled like, but I didn't. So there's a lot of them on there that I didn't even know we had. Autumn Blaze Maple, I didn't know we had that in Washer Whiffs at one time, but we did. So make sure you are voting for those things and sharing them with your customers. So I think that's all of like the bookkeeping type of things. The Easter launch, the Epcot launch, the Washer Whiffs launch. I think that's it. So this month in the team page, we're talking about hosting and parties. It is like the dreaded thing minus follow-up. I would say getting host and partying and follow-up are the two most dreaded tasks as being a consultant. And they're the two tasks that I hear that from the majority of people that they don't do, they fail at, they suck out, things like that, other than sponsoring. But so here's the deal. First and foremost, like I tell you guys all the time, you cannot control people. Lord, do I wish we could, but we cannot. We cannot control people. Therefore, when you say, I just can't get people to say yes, all right, move on. All right? Because the fact is, you can't make anybody do anything, because trust me, if I can make people do stuff, you all would be working harder than you are now. Plain and simple. It's facts. My kids would be doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. My husband would be doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Everybody would be doing what I think is right, because I can control people. We can't. So it's all a numbers game. It all is. This whole gig is a numbers game. When you say, I can't get anybody to say yes, my next question would be, how many of you asked? And if you only asked 1, 2, 3, 4 people, and you're like, nobody says yes, I wouldn't expect anybody to say yes either. You only asked 4 people. Okay. Did you ask 4 people one day, all week, all month? All right. It's a numbers game. It's just like playing the daggone lottery, right? Supposedly, the more you buy when you play the lottery, you increase your chances of winning, right? Because you have more chances of winning, correct? It's the same way with hosting. It's the same way with getting a host. You increase your chances of getting a host by asking more people, right? Your average is better, or your ratio is better, or whatever the technical smart people terms are. It's better. Because expecting to ask one person and getting a yes is delusional. No offense, but it is. It's delusional to think I'm going to ask one person and I'm going to get a host. Or I want 4 hosts this month, so I'm going to ask 4 people and it's all going to be yeses. Kudos to your confidence, but it's not going to happen. All right. And it may happen once or twice. But the likelihood and the longevity of that consistently happening is probably slim to none. All right. There are times when it is easier and there are times when it's not. But when we think longevity, it ain't happening. Okay. So to increase your odds of getting a host, you have to ask more people, right? I just bought 5 swimsuits on Amazon in hopes that one fits and one looks good. Okay. You always have to play your odds, right? So you have to ask more people. That's the first step, is literally just asking more people. Now, how do you ask? When do you ask? Those are always those like things. So how do you ask? You just ask. That's it. Now, there can be spammy ways of doing this. Yes. You can verbal vomit on people, and that's going to turn them away. Is there an art form to asking? There is. I would 100% say there is, because if you're like, do you want to have a party? Because if your party hits $200, you can get $20 in free and you can get 2 half some. What do you think? It's really not that hard, but I really, really want you to do it. That's a lot of information, right? I'm probably going to say no, because you just gave me all of these like if. Okay, I'm already thinking no, because I don't know about that. I already am reluctant to have a party. I'm scared to have a party. I think it's already going to fail. Like, what if my friends make fun of me? I just had a party. Like, that person is going to think all of those things. And then you come shooting at them with, if it hits $200, you will then get this. Like, there's a lot of things there, right? Yo, you want to have a party and earn some free things? Period. Send. That's it. That's all I do. That's literally all I do. Yo, want some free things? There you go. It doesn't have to be complicated. It truly, truly, truly does it. Do you need to let all of your potential hosts know the potential rewards? Nope. I can tell you I have never, ever, ever said to a potential host, if your party hits $200, you'll start earning rewards. My hosts truly have no idea what the reward scale, plan, graph is, unless they looked it up themselves, because I have never once told them, shared it, or talked about it. Because I don't want them to start thinking they're going to fail right away. $200 sounds like a lot of people to some people. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can get $200 in sales. I'm done. I'm out. All right. But if you come at them without, and it's not being shady. Please don't think that. It is truly not being shady. It's just something that we'll discuss later. And it's also how I run my business. And we'll get into that in later weeks. But it is also how I run my business. I don't want my customers walking away feeling like a failure, or feeling like I'm setting them up for failure. And when I say your party has to reach $200 or you don't get anything, most people are going to back out. Right? So it's just one of those, it's the whole switching of your mindset of asking more people. But it's also the switching of your words. Because you have to take your consultant hat off and put your customer hat on. Is the words that you're saying to your customers, if somebody said that to you as a customer, how would that make you feel? Would you feel excited? Would you want to do it? Would it freak you out? Would it make you want to do it? Like, think about it really hardcore for a minute. And sometimes that's hard because we wrote it, right? I wrote those words. It sounds great. I wrote it. So sometimes you have to kind of ask somebody else. Ask your husband, ask your spouse, ask your mama, ask your kid. Dude, ask a teenager. They'll be brutally honest. Ask another consultant. All right. Ask them, hey, this is what I'm kind of saying to people to get hosts. What do you think it sounds like? Okay. Because like I said, you wrote it, you came up with the words, you think it sounds amazing. But sometimes we have to take our consultant hat off and put our customer hat on and see how it really feels. If you have an amazing customer that you can get honest feedback from, sometimes we have really, really great customers, but sometimes they're going to tell us they love everything that we do. I have a few of those that I could probably give them like this crappiest smelling bar and they'd be like, oh my God, thank you. It smells so good. So if you have a really honest customer, sometimes you can ask them, okay, here's the deal. I'm not asking you to host, but I need your opinion on these words. All right. Because it truly can be the words that you're saying aren't resonating with your customers because you're too consultant-y. Does that make sense? So you have to ask the masses. You have to use correct words, right? When do you ask? When you ask somebody, whenever you're having a conversation with them. My customers messaged me to order. I had two, three, four customers this morning, okay, so that ordered through the Easter collection and stuff. And I asked every single one of them, hey, okay, you sent me this order. What if we did a party? Worst case, you pay full price for the item you were going to get anyway. Best case, you're going to get the item for free or half off. Guess what? They all said no. And that's fine. But I asked them, right? So when your customers message you or they're like, what's the price on this? Because some of you I know don't do that. I know some of you require your customers to go to your site and place your orders themselves, which is totally fine. But you get messages about how much is this? How much does that cost? Are there any sales? Like we all get those messages. Okay. When those messages come through, that's when you can ask them, how much does this cost? Well, it's $60, but what if we did a shopping link for you? You got 30 days. Let's see if you can get it for free or half off. Period. Send. And let them ask questions. Don't assume the questions that they're going to ask ahead of time. Don't give them all of the information of the questions that you think they're going to ask ahead of time. Period. Send. Let them ask questions. Okay? Because you don't know. Don't assume you know what's going on in people's heads. Trust me. Y'all don't want to know what's going on in my head most of the time. Don't assume you know what's going on in people's heads. What is this? Stop. Go away. My computer's doing weird things. So when they message you to ask you for the cost, the price, are there any sales? There sure is a sale, free and half off. You want to try it? Sounds corny, right? But it could work. But say it how, what works for you. I literally just go, do you want to earn some free or half off? Period. Send. That's it. That's all I do. I don't do anything razzly dazzly or anything like that. That's just what I send. So when they message you about those things, if they're like, my list is really, really long, like, oh my God, I love everything. That whole entire Easter collection is amazing. I want it all. That's when you go into their messages. That's when you ask them. But again, how you're asking them is huge. Consultant hat off, customer hat on. How do you sound to them as a customer? It is a huge, huge, huge difference. We get stuck in this consultant mind frame and we say things that make sense to us because we're a consultant, but they truly may not make sense to a customer, or it is too much information to a customer. It sounds super crazy, but it is the truth. All right. And we could be setting ourselves up for a no when all it took was just saying some different words, right? So again, ask somebody else. Write down, what do I normally say when I'm trying to get a host? Send it to somebody. You can send it to me. I'm honest. Send it to me. Send it, like I said, ask your spouse, ask your friend, ask your kids. Kids suck. They'll be honest. My teenagers will be straight honest with you. Ask a coworker and be like, hey, I just need some feedback on this wording, and find out. Because again, we wrote it, we think it sounds amazing. It might not. Pure and simple. All right. So that's your basics of getting a host. One, it's like the lottery. You've got to ask a lot of people. Play your odds. Your odds are really small. It's a 50-50 chance, right? They're going to say yes or no if you're only asking one person, right? But please don't ask me to do math. But if you ask more than that, sure, your odds are going smaller and smaller, but you're asking more and more. Does that make sense? When I say it, it doesn't, but I know it does. You just have to ask more people. That's step one, all right? More people. The statistics are 10 to 1. 10 asks for 1 yes. Does that suck? Sure does, but it is. So 10 to 1 is your ratio. The goal should be asking at least 10 people to get 1 yes. All right, so ask more people. Step 2, make sure your wording is good. Make sure you're not verbally vomiting on people. Make sure you're not giving them way more information than they asked for or that they need. Okay? Make it simple. If you're overcomplicating the words, they're 100% going to think you're going to overcomplicate a party. Like, it's going to be so hard. If it's taking that many words to ask me to have a party, this party is going to be crazy. And they're not going to do it. So ask somebody to read your words. Ask somebody to read your script. Ask somebody to help you with some wording, okay? And then just ask. When they ask, when to ask? Anytime they're asking you for a price, anytime they're asking you to place an order, anytime they say that their list is long, anytime they say, oh my gosh, I love XYZ. All right, I know a way you can try to get it free or half off. That's it. Okay. Go out and ask people. I challenge you to do that. Don't overthink it. Okay. Truly. I feel like there's one more other thing I was going to say. What else was I going to say? We will get into hosting incentives next week. We will get into the different types of parties, in the weeks to come. But yeah, don't overthink it. You just have to ask. And like I said, you might be setting yourself up already for a no because you're doing way too much information. Take your consultant hat off. Put your customer hat on. How would you personally like to be approached to ask to have a party? The other thing to think about too, have you ever spoken to these people before? How many of you have gotten those weird spammy Facebook messages be like, oh my gosh, I wanted to know if it's your birthday month. That's the one I get all the time. It's your birthday month, and I wanted to know if you wanted to have a party because my birthday month special for hosts are blah, 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 blah. And I literally only ever have a message from her every single month of July, every year. July. I have no relationship with her whatsoever. If you're cold messaging people that you've never followed up with, if you've never talked to, don't just reach out to people and be like, hey, you want to have a party? If they've never been a customer of yours. But now if you're having a conversation, if they're like, how much does this cost? Or I love all of these things, even if they've never been a customer, that's different. They're engaging with you, right? How much does that pink flamingo warmer cost? Well, then you can start talking to them because now you're having a conversation with them, right? But to just cold message people, be like, hey, it's your birthday month. Hey, I'm having a St. Patrick's Day party. Do you want to come? Dude, don't be weird. Don't be weird, because then that's where that opinion of consultants comes. That's where people start not liking direct salespeople, because you're not reading the room. You're not looking at the relationship that you have with that person. All right. That's where follow-up comes in. That's a completely different month, but that's where follow-up comes in. If you're following up with your customers on a regular basis, you have that communication already with them, right? You're following up with them. You're checking on their products. How are things going? Did you like this? Did you see that? Hey, you want to have a party? It doesn't feel weird because you're already having a conversation with them for months before. But if they've only ever purchased one time and you're like, it's 6 months after they purchased, and you're like, hey, you want to have a party? Literally have never spoken to them again since their purchase. That feels weird, right? Would you like that if you were a customer? Probably not. Always think about how you would feel as a customer. If you came to yourself and did what you're doing, would you say yes or no? And then adjust. All right? Am I having questions before I hop off? I don't think so. I need to take Tylenol. My head hurts. It's been a day already. And I need to get in my pajamas because I'm in jeans. Look at that. I got hard clothes on. That's probably why I got a headache. That's probably why I have a headache, because I have hard clothes on. So if you have any questions, please, please, please let me know. If you need any help with your wording, let me know. Reach out to somebody. Truly reach out to somebody, because like I said, sometimes the biggest issue is you have to take off your consultant hat, put on your customer hat, and you need to ask more people. Okay. Like I said, next week we will dive into like host incentives and host coaching. And then the last 2 weeks of the month, we will dive into different kinds of parties. Alrighty. Have a good rest of your Monday. I will see you guys next week.